I'm Professor Tete Asari, the head of Department of Molecular Biology and Biotechnology of the School of Biological Sciences and of the College of Agriculture and Natural Sciences, the University of Cape Coast. I am a plant biotechnologist, a breeder, and geneticist. Cowpea is scientifically known as Vigna unguiculata. That's the scientific name. And cowpea is a crop that produces grains or seeds which are highly consumed in Ghana. About 70% of Ghanaians, both rural, peri-urban and urban communities, consume cowpea in their diet. And usually in the mornings, you find people buying porridge, and it goes with what we call kose or agawo. And these are all products derived from cowpea. And then also you find waakye. Waakye is patronized both breakfast, lunch, and supper. And one crop, but throughout the day, it is consumed in the diet and is highly protein dense. This project has become very important or relevant to our university, to the nation as a whole, because of the benefits to human development, and particularly among children. In Ghana, and for that matter in Africa, in our rural communities, protein is expensive, and for farmers and people in the rural communities or poor communities to be able to buy adequate fish in the diet. So they depend a lot on cowpea. And even when you come to our school settings, in the boarding houses, they usually feed the students with cowpea food as yokagari, waakye, and other products. And then you come to the prisons, they also use a lot of cowpea. So you realize that it's a crop that is very, very important in the socioeconomic development of our country. And so this is what brings about the Cowpea project. Realizing that the crop is useful, however, there are challenges associated with the cultivation. And the major among them, which became the target of this project, is what we call Striga gasnoides. It's a parasitic weed, and it strives cowpea cultivation areas in the northern regions, Upper East, Upper West, and then former northern region. So it could cause 100% yield loss. In other words, a farmer may have acreage of farm and would have harvested nothing because of the infestation. And so this then became a very important area for which research need to find solution to. And therefore we embark on this project to improve the crop and then also develop resistant varieties so that when the farmers cultivate, they will not have the parasite infestation. And so they can have optimum yield. And that will boost the production of cowpea in Ghana. In the University of Cape Coast, this is the first time that we have developed varieties of cowpea that has been released officially, authenticated and registered.
Because of the skills in the production of cowpea which were taught the inmates, we taught them how to do it. For example, land preparation, when to plant, how to control diseases, when to weed, how to control pests were all taught. Some of the inmates actually developed interest in cultivation of cowpea. And so some were discharged and they even went into production of cowpea, which is helping them. I know 2 of them from Mankesim and others from Ejumako who actually went into cowpea production after discharge.
In Ghana, it is the first time that one single institution has released 7 varieties of one crop. To release a variety is not an easy thing at all. So for an institution to develop and have 7 of its material recommended for release as variety and officially released by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, I think it's recommendable and it's a great achievement. And as I said, the unique thing is about the Striga resistance. We also have drought tolerance and disease tolerance, early maturity, very early maturity, and then also high yielding. So these traits all together made the selection process very effective, and then also recommendations were very high for the release of the varieties. The processes that it has to go through for the release. And so you have to breed, and then after breeding, you have to serve it until it gets to F8 or F9. And if every year you grow it only once, then that means 9 years before it becomes stable for evaluation. Evaluation takes about 2 years for varietal release and the registration committee to come in to inspect your field. So after you have evaluated with farmers and farmers have made their selection, you have held what we call Farmers Field Day, where you bring farmers from communities and for them to come to the field and then observe the material on field and for them to make selection. And so at the end of it, or you make a presentation, public presentation for stakeholders to peruse your presentation materials and everything before the varietal release and the registration committee goes to the field, for inspection. So the process is long. And then after that, the documentation process before eventually the Ministry of Food and Agriculture release varieties.
I've witnessed how, if I should put it, the local farmers cultivate cowpea. And I was able to differentiate between that one and the one the UCC people brought. Usually, the local farmers will plant any variety and then they plant haphazardly. They don't plant in lines and what have you. And then even the spacing is always wrong, being an agric man. But being a good institution, they came out with a very good planting distance. And because the varieties are also very good, the yields were exceptionally high. And that actually helped us to get a lot. And the frequency with which they helped us in controlling diseases also actually helped. Some farmers who plant and even to control disease is a problem. They only leave it and then harvest whatever they get. But this wasn't like that. And so yield per acreage was very, very high comparatively.
The cowpeas are highly dense in protein. And protein is very essential to human development, especially among children and pregnant women. And so as they eat, they develop healthy and then also strong. And then it also reduces the rate of malnutrition because we have mineral nutrients like zinc, like iron, calcium, magnesium, all present in one crop. So besides also, we have the carbohydrate component that gives energy. And we selected the varieties based on the nutritional qualities as well. So that makes it very useful and unique.
So I'm currently here with a lady farmer, and she's also the agric officer at the Asin South District, and in the person of Ikuya Ichama Osei, right?
Yes.
Okay, nice talking to you. So we are going to get her perspective as a farmer who has tried these varieties of cowpea, and also she will speak in the capacity of a supervisor of some women farmers. So thank you once again for talking to us. Yeah, so I think I would want us to first of all talk about the needs of some these women that you supervise.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm in Asen South, and Asen South we have so many women farmers there, and we used to cultivate the local cowpea type, and it would take about 3 or 4 months before you harvest it. And looking at the yield too, the yield was so low. Okay. You will not get enough yield. But we're so privileged to have Prof introducing these new varieties, which is early maturing. Within 2 months, you are harvesting it. And the yield too, if I will not exaggerate, it will be twice the local variety. And so with this attribute of the new varieties, it has really met our need. Yeah, it has really, because we get enough from it, and within 2 months, we have finished harvesting everything. Okay.
Okay. How about the varieties' reaction to rainfall?
Very good. The new varieties, they are resistant to. They are drought resistant. Okay. They are drought. So initial stage, when they get the rainfall, they germinate. Even without rain, you can harvest it and you get a bumper harvest. Compared to the local one that you need rain throughout. But this one is not like that. With little rainfall, you can get your yield. Okay.
Cowpea, by the end of the 3rd month or so, you might have harvested. But this one look as if some are even shorter than the 3 months that we were expecting. And so that way, you will not use much labor. And that way too, your cost of production comes low. So they were having early maturing varieties, which actually also helped the institution. And we've been able to keep some of those varieties, and we are still in contact. When we fall short, we usually come to them and they give us more.
Cowpeas that varieties developed, they are highly protein dense in terms of nutritional quality, and so it has advantage over most of the cowpea, especially those local cowpea on the markets. And therefore, if people eat, it will improve their health, and then also children will not suffer from kwashiorkor or malnutrition as they eat food products from this cowpea. The rural communities, malnutrition is one of the deficiencies that children go through. And so if this cowpea is accessible to them, it will help solve this problem, and then also contribute a lot to reduce cost in maintaining human health. The Department of Molecular Biology, the School of Biological Sciences, the School of Agricultural Sciences, and then the Chemistry departments, and then the School of Business. So then we also have the Food and Nutrition department. So all this internally. Then we also have Savannah Agricultural Research Institute based in Boku, both Temale and then Boku. And so our tests for the parasites takes place on the field at Boku. And the partner directly involved is Dr. Francis Kusi. He is the partner representing CSIR, Savannah Agricultural Research Institute. We have an international institution, the University of Virginia, Professor M.P. Timko. He has a Striga lab. The parasite that we're working on, he has a laboratory in the University of Virginia. So he contributed to wide testing of the cowpeas against the races of the parasite that we have in Africa, West Africa. So he has collection of all the races of the parasite in his laboratory. So we do the testing, and then also he is involved in developing the molecular markers So he offers training of our students to get the skills down to our institution and in Ghana for our benefit.
I'm Theophilus Abonyi-Mensah, a lab technologist in the Department of Molecular Biology and Biotechnology, University of Cape Coast. Variety which is for cowpea, for which molecular biology plays a significant role, in the release of every variety. So in relation to the cowpea, what you do is first you must germinate the seeds, either on field or using in vitro features. You can also do that using the greenfield activities. So you germinate the seeds for about a week, then you harvest the leaves. Now you have to harvest the leaves when they are young, in order to at least get most of the genes in there for further activities, through the molecular biology. So you go harvesting your leaf like this, then you first extract the DNA. Now the extraction of the DNA, either you go by the conventional means, or you can also use the extraction kit. Basically, the conventional means you use the CTAB method, which is very affordable and easy to get a high crude content of the DNA. Now, after the extraction of the DNA, based on the trait of interest, be it the eye color, the seed color, the size, disease resistance, what have you, we just go for markers that can express this trait of interest. Then you get some, amount of the DNA, you get your primer, you also put in it, as it were, your reaction buffers, then you put it inside a PCR machine for amplification. So based on the annealing temperature of your marker, you just set the initial denaturation, the denaturation, and the extension for the activity to take place. Now, after the PCR amplification, this is only to amplify your trait of interest. That is a segment within the genome of the cowpea for which you are interested. After the PCR amplification, then you resolve your gel on the gel electrophoresis. And this is just to visualize as a phenotypic source of, seeing whether the trait of interest are in there. After the resolution of the gel, using the PCR products, you then visualize using the gel documentation system for visualization and, other processes depending on your interest of the, PCR work.
In 2019 and now, we could talk about 5,000 people who have directly benefited and over 10,000 people who might have indirectly benefited from the project through information dissemination and seed dissemination, and then also patronizing in food products as the cowpea is cultivated and people are buying yokegari and wache and the kuzi and all that and eating. So we have a wide range of beneficiaries along the value chain.
Let's talk about you being a farmer who has also had the opportunity to try the varieties. How has the experience been like so far?
It's very nice. I normally practice what I teach my farmers. So when you give me a variety, I will plant it and then see all the attributes and how to manage it before I introduce to my farmers. So I did it, and taking care of it is very easy. Very easy compared to the local one, because they are pest resistant. Most of the pests, they are there, but these new cowpea can tolerate them. They will do their best even when they are there compared to the local one. And the risk to you only need the initial land clearing. When you did your land preparation very well, you not even worry yourself controlling this. And it's very good, and it's helping a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'll take your recommendations. Would you recommend these varieties to farmers out there?
Yes, because it's easy to cultivate, you get high yield, and they are drought resistant. So I recommend to my farmers.
Sure, thank you very much for talking.
Commercialization is a very important component of our activities. But from the research and then to the consumer, there is what we call value chain, that the product varieties will have to go through. You need seed producers who would multiply the seeds in large quantity for farmers to access. But after releasing the varieties of the cowpea, we're working to get seed producers to take the material and produce in commercial quantity. But the challenge we have is funding. Innovation is not an easy thing, but it's fun. Sometimes you begin and you might not be able to achieve the exact objective that you have said. You will achieve something, but you might not arrive. So there's a need for persistency and then also teamwork. Teamwork is very, very important, bringing the right partners' expertise on board to achieve a particular objective.